Alright, so there are tons of videos on YouTube already about ranks in Tekken. This is just another one of those, but this one's a little bit different compared to the majority of videos on YouTube about ranks, considering those are usually about statistics, or what your rank means, or it talks about rank inflation or deflation, whatever that, whatever opinion people have about that stuff. I have an opinion on that. If you guys want to hear it, maybe I'll talk about it on a stream or in a different video sometime. But right now, I'd like to discuss something that's not very often discussed, and that is, what should you be learning at the ranks that you're at currently? What are the things that you should probably be focusing on as a Tekken player if you're looking to rank up and you're looking to get out of the rut that you're currently in the rank that you're in? I'm going to be separating these by color grades for the most part, at least for the very beginning of this discussion. And when it comes to the later ranks, probably somewhere around purple, blue, things will start being a little more segregated by rank, by individual ranks, but I'm not going to be tackling this in a, each individual rank type of scenario. I'm going to focus on just the color of every rank grade that we have, because from silver to green, you're pretty much at the same level you are at beginner that you are at cavalry, which is the highest green rank. Warrior is the lowest yellow rank, and you're probably more or less going to be in the same skill level, skill grade as someone who's an eliminator, the highest orange rank. That's why I'm going to cover rank color grades mostly, and then we're going to start individualizing ranks as we get higher on the list. Alright, so as I said, we're going to be starting with these guys here. Beginner, first dan, and second dan. These are your silver ranks. I know beginner has got a wood panel behind it, but I count that as a silver rank, considering there's only 2 silver ranks. So these 2 are silver ranks, and then what you got here are the teal ranks. These are light blue ranks. A lot of players in the community likes to call these light blue, but the actual technical term for this color is teal, because we have a blue ranks. That's later on in the list, and we'll talk about that later. But blue ranks are a very, very high category of Tekken playing, and teal ranks are beginner level. You've just picked up the game for the first time and you want to learn what the fuck's going on. So, teal ranks. And then finally, the green ranks. These are what I would call the beginner stages of Tekken, right? So what you should be learning from beginner all the way up to cavalry. For the teal ranks, you have fighter, strategist, and combatant. Then in the green ranks, you have brawler, ranger, and cavalry. All of these ranks are more or less the same. These ranks, you don't even lose points if you're fighting. If you lose any matches at all, from beginner all the way up to cavalry, you will lose 0 points. You're only going to be gaining points every time you win. Losing does nothing to you. So these are all beginner ranks, and they're pretty much all free. So what should you be learning in these ranks specifically for that reason? Well, what I can say is the first thing you need to do is learn who your main is. My main is Kazuya. It always has been. It's been Kazuya for 30 years now, and I plan on never giving him up. I love Kazuya more than anything. He is my bona fide main. I do not recommend choosing more than one character as your main. Just look at one character, focus on that character alone, and familiarize yourself with them. That's number 1. Learning what the buttons do. What is the punch buttons? What are the kick buttons? 1, 2, 3, and 4. What does that do? Directional buttons. What does the forward button do? Oh, the forward button does the dash. So the back button you hold back, and now you're blocking. And if you hold down back, as you see the diagonal in the top right corner of the screen, right up there-ish, on the fucking, the buttons that I'm pressing. I'm currently pressing and holding down back. That's what the down back arrow is. That's how you block down back. So all you beginner players that are watching this right now, that's what you should be learning in those beginner ranks. What the buttons do, and maybe some cool moves in combination with each other. A couple of strings here and there, and Bob's your fucking uncle, where you go. That's all you need to learn how to do. Learn how to throw as well, because, that's one of the easiest things in the game to do is learning how to throw, right? You don't have to learn the command throws. That's, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a beginner level tactic. Command throws are something different entirely. But, yeah, just learn the buttons of the character, learn who your favorite character is and main them, and then focus on learning how to throw and learning what the buttons do. That's what you're going to be doing in terms of how you approach Tekken from beginner to cavalry. If that helps, then great, but there really isn't a whole lot more to this. Beginner level ranks are really just about deciding whether or not you like the game. That's what those ranks are for. Beginner to cavalry is deciding whether or not Tekken is for you. Or it's deciding whether or not Tekken Ranked is for you. If you're one of the smart people that avoids Tekken Ranked like the fucking plague, I obviously don't, as you can tell. I'm Tekken King Kazuya right now, and it's a fucking nightmare playing at that level online right now, because Ranked is a fucking cesspool. So if you're smart, you're avoiding Ranked. But if you're stupid or you just love punishing yourself for no reason, then you're probably going to want to pursue the game further, and at that point, you're going to want to know what to do once you hit the yellow ranks. So let's talk about that now. So moving forward with this list, I want to discuss everything from Warrior to Eliminator, because yellow and orange color grades, these two are virtually for people who are interested in Tekken. They've decided that this is their game. They want to actually get involved somehow, and they want to do more than just mash buttons all day, because that's all you're doing at beginner level is mashing buttons. You have no concept of what's actually going on in the game. You're just trying to press buttons and see what happens, right? You don't know what you're doing yet, and that's fine. That's what those ranks are for. But once you've hit Warrior, if you want to continue to advance, you're going to need to know a little bit about Tekken. So you're going to need to learn things like your launchers. Learn how to backdash, because just holding back is going to move you back really quite slowly. You want to be able to backdash quickly. I'm not saying learn Korean backdash yet. That's not for yellow and orange ranks, in my opinion. That's for maybe red ranks, but we'll discuss those when we get there. But Warrior, Assailant, and Dominator are the yellow ranks. Vanquisher, Destroyer, and Eliminator are the orange ranks. These color grades are very similar to one another. The rules for promoting and demoting are virtually identical. And we'll discuss more of that in a second. So in the yellow and orange ranks, you want to learn, like I said, learn a launcher with your character, whatever that launcher may be, right? With Kazuya, you probably do forward, forward 3. You'll probably do not the electric, but the wind god fist. That's another really good one. I don't recommend learning electrics yet, because wind god fist is really all you need, just to get a launcher going. Electrics are a little bit higher level, so maybe don't worry about electrics if you're a Mishima player playing in yellow and orange ranks, but learn a launcher. Next up, I want you to learn how to backdash. So just press back quickly, twice in a row. Back, done. Backdashing is just one backdash is all you need for a lot of scenarios. One backdash and then hold the second back, and then just keep blocking. That's what you need to focus on there. When it comes to your offense, you need to learn combos. So something very basic. Of course my down forward 1 whiffs because I'm slightly off axis and I'm Kazuya, that's hilarious. So make sure you know what a combo is. Launch them, do the combo, and then do something as an ender. That's all you need to do. Just focus on learning a combo with your character from every launcher that you do, including while standing launchers. You can even translate combos together. Like, look at this. I'm doing the exact same combo with this one that I did with my electric. So learn at least 1 to 2 combos for every launcher that you have. You also need to learn good low attacks if you want to get any damage from players besides throwing them and launching them. You don't want to just be throwing out launchers all day, because launchers are usually pretty punishable. So what you're going to want to do is learn how to do some lows. So with Kazuya, you can do down back 4, down back 3, and of course hell sweep if you have the execution. This requires a little bit more than just picking up the game. You need to know actually how to input the hell sweep. As you can see on screen there, it's a little more complicated than you think. It's forward, neutral, down, forward, 4, 1. So it's not the easiest move to do if you're a brand new player, but the lows like down back 4 and down back 3, those are things that you definitely need to know at yellow and orange ranks. Whatever pokes there that your character has. So if you find a low that your character has that does this for you, then just learn that and then focus on the launchers and learn a combo. And also incorporate heat a little bit more. So, even if it's just as simple as heat burst into heat smash, which a lot of players do, Even at high level, a lot of players will just heat burst into heat smash. As long as you're using your heat, you can bring in the more advanced heat shit when you get higher in the ranks, but at yellow and orange ranks, just do the basic stuff. Basic combos, basic heat usage, basic low pokes. Nothing too out of this fucking world crazy, because you're not there yet. So just give yourself some time to build that up. Focus on doing those things for now and perfecting the offense with your character. Get very familiar with your character. That's the most important thing. Now that you have a main, now that you have some combos, now that you understand a little bit more about movement, like backdashing a little bit more, maybe we can move on to the next tier in ranks. So next up we have red ranks, and this tier of ranks is all by itself, I think, because by the time you hit red ranks, things start to segregate a little bit more. You're not noticing that, in my opinion, when I see a warrior player fight with their main compared to an eliminator player fight with their main, there's virtually no difference. Maybe the eliminator is a little bit more aggressive and is able to do more things with their character, but that's about it. The skill level is very, very comparable. With red ranks, it takes a little bit more to get there, and as you can tell by the rank statistics, if you actually check them online, red ranks are the global average. Garyu here, the first red rank, is the most common rank in the world right now. It has the largest amount of players sitting at this rank currently. Shinryu is pretty close, and Tenryu is also quite popular as well. But the red ranks are very, very heavily populated. The most of the players in the world right now that are hard stuck at a rank, it's usually red ranks. So this will apply to a lot of you, and this is what you should be learning at these ranks, in my opinion. So first of all, you want to learn frames with your character. Your character specifically. Don't focus on the other characters yet. Matchup knowledge and all that will come later. But right now, you're in red ranks. If you don't know the character like the back of your dick by now, then you're kind of shit SOL. You should know what your character's launchers are, and how to deal offense and get some decent damage with them, and what their heat moves do. You should know that stuff by now. Now you need to learn frames. So, obviously, 10 frame jab, whatever my 12 frame move is, 13 frames, learn just the number of frames for your character's moves. Down forward 2 is 14 frames, stuff like that. You need to know basic frames for the basic moves of your character and punishment techniques. You don't need to learn every single punisher your character has, but the main ones he's going to use, or she's going to use, or whatever the fuck, you make sure you know that stuff. So your jab punish, your 11, 12, 13 frame punish, whatever that is. I've got 11 for this, and 12 for this, and 13 for this, and they all have different utility. I'm going to place them in different spots, but let's not focus on that yet, because that's a little bit higher level than what we're talking about now. Red ranks, just learn for now your jab punish, and then your 15 frame launcher. Or your whip punisher. Usually those are the two of the same things. For Kazuya, his 15 frame punish, a lot of the time you're just going to go with this. This is Kazuya's main 15 frame punish. Or even just this, because it's virtually the same thing for one less damage. And except this has more range. But when it comes to your whip punishment, make sure you know what your whip punisher is. Obviously everybody knows Kazuya is the electric, but you've got to make sure that you know your character's specific whip punisher. And just learn the jab punish, and your while standing 4 punish, your while standing launcher, and then your 15 frame launcher if your character is fortunate enough to have one. I think every character in the game has a 15 frame launcher except for Kazuya and Steve. So, Kazuya has the electric, but it's hard to get at 15 frames. So learn those things, of course. And then you need to start optimizing your heat more. Instead of just doing heat burst, make sure you do a couple of things with your heat. Use your heat bar a little bit. And, just don't just go heat burst into heat smash. It's okay to incorporate heat into combos, and then maybe, do a heat dash every now and again. So heat engager, and then maybe you want to get a heat dash happening and get some real damage happening. Heat dashes are so important because they're +5, and they come out of every heat engager you do. If you hold forward after you do the heat engager inputs, once you're in heat already, and the combos you can get from them are fucking stupid. The amount of wall carry that they have is crazy. It's scaled damage compared to normal combo starters. So heat engagers that become launchers do less damage altogether, but you can still get some significant fucking damage. Like Kazuya doesn't get very much for his heat engagers, but some characters get well over 100 damage for their heat engagers. Like Dragunov, for example. You know, optimize heat a little more. So if you're gonna go into a combo, like that kind of stuff. You want to learn how to appropriately optimize your heat. You don't want to necessarily have like the crazy combos right off the bat if you're in red ranks, but you definitely need to use your heat in a more in a better way. Stop just doing heat burst into heat smash. Try incorporating some of your added heat moves, and then do heat dashes more often than your heat smash. Some heat smashes are just outright trash, like Lee's, Kazuya's is garbage. There's a ton of characters in the game that have garbage heat smashes. So sometimes you just want to do the heat dashes. So stick to that. And also, you're going to want to learn a little bit of sidestepping. And mostly at red ranks, whenever you start to sidestep, it's usually just out in the open. You're trying to just, you know, get away from the wall or whatever. But incorporate it into your offense. So usually at red ranks, a lot of players who want to sidestep are going to be doing aggressive sidestepping and not defensive sidestepping. The difference is you're going to do, I don't know, jab into sidestep into electric, no matter fucking what. You already have it programmed into your head that you're going to jab your opponent, and you're going to sidestep him to the right, and then you're going to electric. Or maybe you sidestep a left and electric. You know, like that's the thing that you have in your head that you're doing, that you're going to do no matter fucking what the opponent does, right? And when it comes to defensive sidestepping, that's a little bit more advanced. It's usually comes in tandem with hard reads, so you don't necessarily want to start focusing on defensive sidestepping just yet at red ranks. And finally, the last thing I think you should learn at red ranks, really focus on this, is Korean backdash cancel. You really should learn how to backdash a little faster. Also, wave dash is very important to learn at red ranks if you're a Mishima player, but if you're any other character, learn Korean backdash so you can get the fuck out of dodge a lot faster, create space from your opponent a lot better, more consistently. Of course, if you just press back over and over again, backdashing isn't terrible. You still create decent space, but you get the hell away from your opponent a lot faster if you are able to Korean backdash successfully. So, make sure you learn how to do that. Red ranks, you guys need to learn this shit. But now we're going to be getting into the more advanced ranks. So let's start talking about some more hardcore things that are going to take a lot more time. And things are starting to get a little heavy now in the purple ranks. So let's discuss purple ranks. Alright, so for purple ranks we have Mighty Ruler, Flame Ruler, and Battle Ruler. If you're able to hit Mighty Ruler and stay there, not constantly get back down demoted to Tenryu, but if you're hard stuck Mighty Ruler, you haven't got demoted in forever, but you haven't gotten promoted yet either, you probably know how to play the game Tekken. You're just you don't quite understand the full mechanics of the game, but you have a good enough grasp on your main that, and probably a bunch of other matchups too, I'm sure, that you're probably in a spot where you can advance where you are currently right now. It's just going to take a little bit of conscious practice, and you need to know what the fuck to do, what you're looking for. A lot of players in these ranks know they need to improve, but they have no idea how to make that happen. So hopefully this helps. Let's go into a little bit of detail now. So a number one thing I think you should focus on in purple ranks, where you should start focusing on, is learning matchup knowledge for the entire cast and learning frame data for every cast member, at least on a surface level. So everyone should know that this is always going to be 10 frames from pretty much every character except Jack. Your jab will always be. You know, your main launcher, your go-to launcher, usually a down forward 2, is always going to be 15 frames. Your while standing 4 is always going to be 11 frames for the majority of the cast, and then you usually have a while standing launcher, and that will vary in frames, but it ranges from 13 with your Kazuya up to 18 if you're Steve. But usually they sit around 15 frames. The vast majority of the cast has a while-standing launcher that's 15 frames. Kazuya is an exception, Jin is an exception, June, Raven, Lee, those guys have 14-frame launchers, Kazuya has a 13-frame launcher. Anyways, what you need to learn is the matchup knowledge. Learn the basic frame data and learn basic matchup knowledge, which means you're gonna need to start labbing characters. And when it comes to labbing characters, a lot of people don't know how to lab. So the best thing you can do is utilize the replay feature. If you've just lost a match and you want to figure out what the fuck just happened there, go into replay, replay the match you just fought, and then rework the system. Go into the match, pick the character, take control of your character when you're in that scenario where you thought, oh fuck, I have no idea what to do here. I'm just stuck. I can't get out of the corner. I don't have an opening anywhere. Lars is just fucking throwing shit at me and dancing all over the screen and I have no fucking clue what's going on. Well, take control of Kazuya and go into the replay function. Figure out exactly where the hole is in their offense and learn what the answer is. Do I duck that string? Do I sidestep to the right? Do I sidewalk to the right? Do I sidestep or sidewalk to the left to get out of there? Is one backdash enough? Do I just block here? Maybe I shouldn't have pressed a button. Can I interrupt the thing that he's doing? Like, there are so many different ideas and so many different... Can I power crush that shit? What about heat burst? Does that work? Like, what are my options here? What do I have at my disposal? That's something you'll have to do. After every single time you get your fucking ass destroyed online or in ranked or whatever the fuck. Go into the replay function, break down the round that really caught you off guard where you got destroyed, and then deconstruct it in real time by taking control of the character during the replay and finding the hole in their offense. Lars is gonna, whatever the fucking, I use Lars for example because Lars fucking sucks ass. I've taken him into replay mode a million times and there's still very little holes in his offense. He's such a bitch character. Same with Jin, same with Lily, same with Feng. They're all problematic characters that have issues. So, and Xiaoyu as well. Like there's Nina, Victor. There's a lot of characters in the game right now that don't have a whole lot of counterplay to them. But there's still counterplay available for a lot of characters in the game, and it's your job to find that. You're a mighty ruler now, at least. You should fucking be doing this shit. You should be putting in the time to do it if you want to keep going. If you're happy being mighty ruler and just staying there, then don't pay attention to what I'm saying. But if you want to continue to rank up, even if you're a battle ruler and you want to get to blue ranks, make sure you fucking lab matchups, and make sure you know how to lab matchups. You don't have to go through their entire move list and figure out exactly what every move is on block, but you do need to go in a replay function and deconstruct the match that you just got destroyed in. That's the best thing for me, in my opinion. That's how I was able to rank up past purple ranks, and it seemed to work for me. So, there you go. That's my opinion on matchups and how to learn those. The other thing I would recommend is optimize your combos. If you're doing combos, great. Like, you should be doing combos in yellow ranks already, like I said. But if you've been doing combos since then, now it's time to start doing the best combos you can do with your character, If you're a Kazuya and you're doing this shit, then, fine. Because that's probably the most consistent shit he has right now. But if you're doing combos like that, just the little mini one that I just talked about, then make sure you at least know that Kazuya can also do stuff like this. And actually get some decent damage that's not fucking, it's actually 74, but the second hit was not an electric for me, because I suck. Make sure you find what your optimal combo is, something that's strong, but also consistent, and is not too difficult to do that you're gonna drop all the fucking time. And at this point in the game, honestly, you should not be dropping combos at all. If you're a mighty ruler and up, there's no excuse for dropping combos anymore. Like, stop dropping combos. It's not that fucking hard to just execute a combo. It really is, especially if you've been playing and now you're a purple rank. Like, if you're still dropping combos at this point, then you need to clean that shit up. Because you're not going to get out of purple ranks if you keep dropping fucking combos, when guys in blue and gold ranks are not only not dropping combos, but they're optimizing every fucking hit of every combo, breaking walls and balconies and just killing you. So you're not getting out of blue or purple ranks if you're dropping a combo. So stop doing that. You should have already mastered all the other stuff that we've talked about so far, from the silver ranks all the way up to red. But the other thing, the big thing I think purple ranks should really start learning at this point, especially if you're flame ruler, you know, approaching battle ruler, if you've got battle ruler, you really need to start doing this shit. Ducking and launching strings on reaction. So if you know, that's what I mean when I say familiarize yourself with the cast and understand frame data, at least on a surface level, you should know where the highs are in certain strings. And you should know exactly how to react, how to block, or how to duck and punish these things on reaction. If you can't do this in purple ranks, you need to work on this. It's definitely something you need to focus on. This is not a recommendation. This is a prerequisite if you want to keep going. So, ducking highs and strings, very important to know, and familiarizing yourself with matchups, and optimizing combos completely. And everything else you should have already mastered by now at purple ranks. So if you're at purple, you're doing fucking fantastic. Congratulations. You've hit a big milestone, and you should be proud of yourself. You should be proud of yourself in red too, but I think specifically purple rank players, that's where you start getting you start amping your game up a little bit. And there's a lot of things that really just need cleaning up after this point, in my opinion. A lot of cleaning up. But we'll discuss that more in the blue ranks, which we'll talk about right now. So, unlike all the other color schemes we've talked about so far, there are actually 4 blue ranks. So this is actually where things start segregating themselves a little bit in terms of skill level. There's a big difference between a Fujin player and a Bushin player. A huge, huge difference. It can't be understated. If you've made Fujin, you've done something wonderful. You've approached a very high rank of play. But Fujin is not high-level Tekken. I would argue that Bushin is approaching high-level Tekken. Fujin, you're far from that. You've got a long way to go. But it's a lot more punishing in the blue ranks. You start losing a lot more points for losing against your opponent, and winning you gain less. So winning is a lot less in your favor. Lose streaks also lose you quite a few more points than win streaks gain you. So there's a lot to look for in blue ranks. If you're at blue ranks and you're managing to get to Raijin, Kishin, Bushin ranks, you're doing fucking fantastic in your high level. You're approaching high level. Kishin, Bushin, this is a different category than Fujin, Raijin. Fujin players, you've started the blue ranks, you're doing well. You know, you probably just need to clean up all the things that I mentioned from Mighty Ruler, Flame Ruler, and Battle Ruler ranks, from the purple ranks. You need to just clean a few things up, because there's not a whole lot of difference between Fujin and the purple ranks. Raijin, though, there's a big skill gap. You can actually see in the rank statistics, the ranks drop off quite a bit, significantly. When the player base drops off significantly, I should say, when you go from Fujin to Raijin, because it takes a lot more work to get to Raijin than it does to get to Fujin. As I said, you lose more points for losing, so you have to have a positive win streak, essentially, to hit Raijin, which is difficult to do at such a high level, in terms of ranks. So, Raijin and up is where I think things differ a little bit. So, you need to learn how to recognize patterns your opponent makes. So, this is like starting a round, for example. What does your opponent do at the beginning of every round? Well, let's see. Do they attack? Do they backdash? Do they sidestep? Do they mix it up every time? Recognize those patterns. Recognize how they like to get up. Do they do get-up kicks like a fucking dumbass every time? Cool. Well, you get some free damage out of that. If it get-up kick all the time, just run up to them, sidestep right, and kill them every time they do a get-up kick. Get a free launcher from them. You know, recognize patterns. Do they do like down forward one into sidestep, into jab, into whatever the fuck? Is this a constant flowchart that they do? Their flowcharts are still going to be abundant at these ranks. Raijin and below players, a lot of them still love to flowchart. So, make sure you recognize these patterns and clue in. And then, by now, since you're a Raijin player, at least, you should be able to combat these issues. You should know, oh, this I can his down forward one tracks to the right, but I can sidestep it left, so, you know, if I'm fighting Shaheen or something, he has a really good down forward one. Most of the time, you want to sidestep Shaheen to the right. But Shaheen, his down forward one tracks to that side, so you want to sidestep his down forward one right. You need to learn how to call out your opponent. getting hard reads on your opponent. That's the next thing. What do I think is going to come out next? Well, I'm in this position. I'm at -6 or -7 or whatever the fuck. I can't really move. And they're still trying to continue their offense. Well, if I'm recognizing all the patterns that they've already done throughout the match, in my opinion, they're going to throw out a down forward 1 here. Or something that's fairly linear to one side. So if I sidestep left now, I might be able to beat out a couple of the options that they would feasibly throw out in this scenario. So all this thinking in this process and the gears turning like this, these are all happening in real time while the match is happening at like lightning fast speed, because that's just how fast our brains calculate. Except for mine, because I'm a stoner and I'm a dumbass. But everybody else's brain moves about that fast. So if you're Raijin player or above, you need to work on hard reads, hard callouts, learning how to recognize patterns, learning how to incorporate proper getting up ability. Like, don't just get up and put yourself right against the wall again. Whenever you're falling down or whenever you're down on the ground, make sure that you tech roll away from the wall. So if I'm Kazuya and I have Dragunov against the wall here and I do some kind of combo, and he's gonna tech roll and he's gonna sidewalk Kazuya away from the wall. So now I have my back to the wall. These are things that you need to be focusing on doing if you're in blue ranks, especially the second blue rank Raijin, and very much so at Kishin and Bushin. At Kishin rank, I think the most important thing you should focus on is everything we just talked about and learning in-depth matchup knowledge. You should be very familiar with every member of the cast and which way to step certain moves, and what to do in certain scenarios. If you don't know this stuff at Kishin, then you have some work to do, in my opinion. You should learn all this. Very, very in-depth matchup knowledge analysis. If you don't have the time to learn matchups, then watch some YouTube videos, but either way, you have to learn the matchups in depth. You should know that Dragunov is susceptible to sidestep right in a lot of ways, but you should still sidestep him left if you think he's going to do a while running 2 or a down forward 1. His down forward 1 tracks to sidestep right, and his while running 2 does as well. So those are very common moves Dragunov players use. So those are things you need to know, and that's in-depth matchup knowledge. And once you hit Bushin, you're approaching high-level play. So start doing some very high-level shit, like varying your timing and playing a reactive style game. Don't just do things because they work. I mean, sometimes it's okay to do that. Even at the highest level of Tekken, sometimes it's okay to mash. Sometimes it's okay to just do shit. But for the most part, you want to play reactive, not just what you're doing. I don't want to just randomly fucking throw shit out. I'm going to just run up and do, he's going to sidewalk me left. I'm going to just randomly fucking go in and do stuff no matter what. No, play more reactive. I know that Dragunov's going to sidewalk me left, so why am I wave dashing in and trying to do a hell sweep there? I should be doing a homing move. That's what I'm saying by playing reactive, based on what your opponent is doing as an answer to what you're doing. You're both running your offenses, and they're adapting to you, and now you need to adapt to them. So, and then you just play that kind of a dance in Tekken. And the other part that you need to do is once people start respecting you more, which doesn't normally happen until high blue, low gold ranks at least, is varying your timing. It's not going to really work if you're below these ranks. Like below blue ranks, this concept doesn't really need to be applied. You can really dumb your gameplay down for purple ranks and below if you're above that level. But in the higher levels, Bushin rank and up, you need to vary your timing. So don't just jab into forward 4 into electric or down forward 2 into whatever the fuck, down back 4, continue your offense, that kind of stuff. React to what your opponent is doing and vary up your timing. You don't always have to capitalize on those +5 frames that you just got. Sometimes, if you know that your opponent is just going to react to whatever it is you're doing, sometimes you want to mix up what it is you're doing by just doing things a little bit earlier or a little bit later than you normally would, like a couple of frames later or a couple of frames earlier. Varying your timing can mean the difference between a hell sweep getting blocked and a hell sweep connecting. If they don't know that, like, if I go in and do this, like I do a couple of wave dashes and I immediately hell sweep, then they're gonna block that every fucking time. I do 3 wave dashes, and then I do a hell sweep. Well, what if I, if I don't do 3 wave dashes and do a hell sweep? What if I do 3 wave dashes and then I back dash and then I do a hell sweep? Or do 3 wave dashes and I stand there, and then I stand there and then I do a hell sweep? Like stuff like that. You need to mix it up. Mix up your timing, not just your buttons. Don't just mix mid or low. Don't just mix sidestepping or, tracking or non-tracking. Mix timing. That's so crucial in blue ranks, especially high blue ranks and very much at Bushin rank, because you're never going to hit gold ranks unless you start doing that. But you don't need to master that unless you're a high blue rank player, at least. So, now we're going to talk about gold ranks, and there's not much to say, but we're going to go there anyways. So we're in the final tier of ranks now. We're talking about Tekken King, Tekken Emperor, Tekken God Supreme, and God of Destruction. We'll probably leave God of Destruction out of this, because if you've reached God of Destruction, you're not interested in my video. You don't care what I have to say. You're far better at Tekken than I am. God of Destruction players, you're probably competing in tournaments. You probably know 10 times more about the game than I do, so there's no reason to even pay attention to what the fuck I'm saying if you're God of Destruction. Okay, I should be learning from you. But these ranks, specifically the gold ranks, we're talking about, so there's 2 tiers of gold. There's the purple gold, and then there's the gold. And currently I'm sitting at Tekken King with Kazuya. I'm pushing Tekken Emperor. We should have Tekken Emperor within the week. Shouldn't be a problem. But what I'm focusing on right now is everything that I just talked about, and I'm trying to tighten it up as best I possibly can. I don't want to miss that jab punish ever. I don't want to just be jab punishing shit when I should be electric punishing that shit. I don't want to be not sidestepping Chaoyu's heat string every time I see the fucking thing. I want to be able to sidestep right on reaction every time Deviljin does his fucking laser scraper string and the 3rd hit comes out. I want to be able to do those things all the time and never miss it. And I'm currently doing that, and it's feeling great, but I know there are certain things that I need to clean up. My movement could definitely use some improvement. My timing mix-ups are not as good as they should be. My constant awareness of what my opponent is doing it definitely needs to improve. And the other thing I think I'm really bad at is just my offense. Running in and just doing an attack. I do that a lot, even at Tekken King. A lot of the time I'm just chilling in the background and waiting to see what they're doing, but a lot of the time when I want to actually get some damage happening, I'll just run in, and the good players will identify this the first time I do it and launch me right a fucking way, because I'm not dash blocking. So dash blocking is something I need to fucking work on, and I'm Tekken King with Kazuya, arguably the hardest character in the game to get that rank with, and I fucking managed to do it because I'm a sweat lord, and I fucking bust my ass with this game. But there's still so much I need to learn, and so much I need to work on. So gold ranks you're really tightening shit up. And keep in mind that there's a massive difference between a Tekken King and a Tekken Emperor. There's a massive difference between Tekken Emperor and Tekken God, and same for God Supreme. These two, God Supreme and God of Destruction, those two are quite comparable. Like, a lot of the top players, some of them are still just sitting at God Supreme, because it's really just about being as tight as you possibly can. It's very minuscule of a difference between these two ranks. But to get to Tekken God, you really do need to be playing real Tekken. And I'm not trying to bash anybody saying, oh, what the fuck what's real Tekken mean? Real Tekken is doing Tekken correctly all the time. That's real Tekken. You're playing the game the way it should be played at the highest level of play. So, real Tekken, I think, starts, from what I can see, at around this level. Probably Tekken God more so. But Tekken Emperor, there's definitely some talented Tekken Emperor players out there from what I've seen. It's an extremely high rank. Like any Brian who's a Tekken Emperor, or Steve, or Kazuya, or Deviljin who's a Tekken Emperor, you have my fucking respect. Because I know how hard it is to get that rank with those characters, and it's not easy. So congrats to any Tekken Emperor with those characters. The other thing I want to mention, now that we've discussed all the ranks and tightening everything up, virtually once you hit Tekken King, if you've mastered all the shit that we've already talked about, tighten everything the fuck up, stop doing stupid shit, and you'll hit Tekken Emperor. Stop doing even more stupid shit, and you'll hit Tekken God. Keep going, and you're gonna fucking eventually get to the top. But you really need to tighten it all up. You should be constantly, consciously aware of every little mistake you make. And if you don't know what the fuck's going on, you better lab that shit, because there's no reason you shouldn't know what the fuck's going on when you're already in the gold ranks. If I have to say one more thing about these ranks, though, in closing thoughts on this video, I wanted to just say that characters will get you further than other characters will. Certain characters will. Like, there's no question in the in the world that some characters carry you much, much further in the ranks than other characters do. I think it evens out around Bushin level. Bushin, Tekken King, Tekken Emperor, that's around the level where you stop getting carried. You could even argue Kishin. Honestly, a lot of Kishin players are really solid, and they're playing really good Tekken. I don't see a whole lot of that from these ranks or below. So, in my opinion, anyways, I'm not saying you guys aren't still doing great in those ranks. I'm just saying the level that I'm aspiring to, I'm not seeing a lot of that from anybody below Kishin. That's just a surface level thing that I'm saying. It's just a minor opinion that I thought I'd share. But as for the characters that carry you quite far, I think almost every single character in the game can get you to at least Fujin without really knowing half the shit I've already talked about. That's required to get to Fujin, because they're just so strong and they play themselves a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, characters are ridiculous in this game. A lot of it is thanks to the heat mechanic being so strong, and the heat mechanic itself is, in my opinion, even less balanced than the character roster is, because it varies from character to character. You have Steve over here who's got fuck all when it comes to heat. Just garbage heat. Kazuya's heat is pretty average. He's got down back 1-2, which is fucking amazing. But that's that's the only move in heat that he has that carries him. Down back 1-2 and his Devil Fist with the extension. Great move as well. But he's got nothing else, really. Devil Jin's in a very similar position. And Brian doesn't have a lot in heat either. Brian's wall carry and wall damage is insane. And his heat has a lot to do with that, but besides that, his heat in the neutral, nothing special. So those four characters, Brian, Steve, Kazuya, Devil Jin, and I'm not just saying this because I play two of them. I'm saying this because this is how I genuinely feel. I've talked to other Tekken community members that feel the same way. A lot of them aren't even Mishima players. And a lot of the players, like Victor players, will straight up admit that their character carries them super, super far. You'll see Victor players at Fujin, Raijin, Kishin who don't fucking know their optimized combos, have zero punishment whatsoever. Punishment is another thing that I really think you should be learning at, like, orange, red ranks. Learn fucking punishment. I already talked about learning your basic punishment in red ranks. You should have all your main punishment tools down by purple ranks, and that shit should be solidified in your brain by blue ranks. Fujin, Raijin, Kishin Victor players are just randomly throwing out their fucking safe heat engagers and while running twos and expulsion because it's so effective that they don't need to learn how to properly be defensive, how to punish anything, how to sidestep anything. They don't need that because the character does so much on its own. They're not going to get out of these ranks. Fujin, Raijin, Kishin is where they're going to stay. But they got there, and there are players that are twice as good as them that know twice as much that are stuck in these ranks, or fuck, even below, because they're playing Brian, or Steve or something, right? So, characters definitely have a lot to do with your rank. I'm not going to go ahead and say shit like, oh, if you're playing Kazuya and you're a Fujin, you're basically a Tekken King as if you were playing Victor. But if you're playing Victor and you're a Tekken King, you're pretty much a fucking, battle ruler or whatever the fuck. It's not that cut and dry. There's a lot more to it than that. But there's certainly a discrepancy when it comes to the characters and how far a lot of them will take you. Victor, June, Law, Jin, Nina, Fang, Lily, Dragunov, these characters, King, Eddie, they will carry you super far. There is an Eddie AI that was literally designed and implemented into online ranked as a bot that all that Eddie did was press the 3 button, mashed the fucking 3 button, and they managed to beat some red rank players by doing that. All that Eddie was doing was mashing 3. No directional inputs, no blocking, nothing like that. Just mashing the 3 button all fucking day, because that literally gives Eddie a combo, and he managed to beat red rank players, Garyu level. So, and I think that thing ended up being an eliminator in rank, so it managed to get all the way up to the highest orange rank by doing nothing but mashing 3. We're talking a bot right now. So, obviously, characters have discrepancies. There are characters in the game that will carry you a lot further than other ones. Kazuya won't carry you at all. Brian won't carry you at all. But that's for sweatlords. Not everybody wants to sit in practice mode learning non-Tekken shit like wave dashing and electrics all fucking day when they should be learning matchups. I like to do electrics in practice mode all day, but I'm a fucking weirdo. And I also took a lot longer to learn how to do things like punishment because I was too busy learning how to do awesome electrics and shit, when I really should have been learning how to punish. And so that set me back a couple of years, simply because I picked Kazuya as my main 30 years ago. If you're lucky enough to pick Victor as your main, and you're happy with him being your main, you don't have to do that in practice mode. Just go learn Victor's basic moves and you'll get all the way up to fucking red or purple ranks in no time with that guy. So, there is definitely character discrepancy. That's what I wanted to point out. But, those are just my closing thoughts. These ranks are just little trophy heads. There's nothing really all that important about them. Don't focus so much on your rank. That's something that I think every player needs to learn how not to do. Ranks are not all that important at the end of the day. Because guess what? If you're good enough, the rank will come. If you're not good enough, you won't get the rank. It's that fucking simple. Obviously, you're not going to be able to hit Mighty Ruler if you're still fighting like a warrior. You know, you're not going to be able to hit Tekken King if you're playing like a battle ruler. You need to evolve as a player and learn more about the game, and then the ranks will come. So don't focus on like, oh, I need to hit this milestone, I gotta get to Fujin before blah. No. If you're not able to get to Fujin, then put in some more work. Practice more, learn about the things that you're fucking up on. Otherwise, you won't make Fujin, and rightfully so. You don't deserve the rank if you haven't put the time in yet. So, stop focusing so much on the rank and and how important that little trophy is on the top corner of your screen, and focus more about what the rank represents. Because, in my opinion, yes, ranks do represent some skill. They are a skill equator. Like, you are able to showcase a little bit of what your capabilities are, barring, your off days. If you're having a shit day playing Tekken and nothing's going right for you, that happens to literally everybody. So, don't feel so bad about that shit if that happens, because it literally happens to everyone. But barring those bad days and those off days, if you're playing Tekken and it's just a regular Tekken day for you, then I think that your rank is a decent indicator of where you are on the skill department. If you've managed to hit Bushin or Kishin, you're probably a pretty fucking good player. Certain ranks indicate other things. Like I said, these are the learning curve ranks. You don't know a whole lot about the game. You're still trying to decide if you like it. These are the, I like the game now, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I would like to learn what I'm doing, so I'm going to start. These are the, I know what the fuck I'm doing in some minor aspects, and I don't have a fucking clue what I'm doing in other aspects. These are the, I should know what I'm doing by now in a lot of ways, but I really need to clean up my act a lot and learn how to properly learn matchups and all that. These ranks are, it's a bunch of different things. Like, you could say Fujin combined with these it's all the same thing. And then from Raijin to Bushin, you're really good at Tekken. You're a really solid Tekken player that has put in a lot of time and a lot of work, and you probably could compete and do somewhat well in tournaments. Tekken King to Tekken God Supreme, gold ranks, you're playing at a really high level, but you still have a lot of work to do if you're a Tekken King to clean up your shit. A little bit less work if you're an Emperor, and less work still if you're a God. God Supreme, you're probably approaching pro level of play, and God of Destruction, you basically are a pro. There's virtually no question about it. The characters the discrepancy is almost completely diminished, if not outright gone completely, by the time you hit Bushin rank, in my opinion. Nobody is carrying you past Bushin. If you've hit Tekken King, it's not your character that did it, it's your skill. If you've hit Tekken Emperor, same thing. The same thing applies to Bushin, and you could even argue Kishin in a lot of ways. So, yeah, character discrepancies are only so, only do so much, and your rank only matters so much. Don't get discouraged if you can't get to a certain rank yet. It doesn't mean you suck. It just means you have things about you that you need to clean up a little bit. Things about your gameplay style, maybe you haven't even noticed them yet, that you need to clean up. So I hope that this video helped a little bit in terms of the things that people seem to maybe they want to clean up. Maybe I'm right about all these colors and what they represent and what you should be learning at those colors. If I'm right, let me know in the comments. If you feel like you disagree in some areas, like, I feel like you should be learning, full matchup knowledge at orange rank or some weird shit, or, I don't know anything about matchup knowledges and I'm already a Raijin, or something like that. I'm sure there's examples of players like that, but, let me know in the comments. Leave a comment. Let's start a dialogue going. Tell me if I'm right about my opinion on this shit. Tell me if there's some things that I missed, and I would really appreciate it. But, hey, this is a fun video to make. I hope it helps. Just keep climbing the ladder. So keep rocking out and keep gaming.